We love it raw!
Hi, this is We Love It Raw with A.S. Caldero, Chris Coury, The Future, and V-Ness. Please subscribe, listen, share, tag, make people hear this. This is a great show. Thank you guys. We love you.
We love it raw!
Sunday night at WWE Payback, we saw everything go down. We saw controversy, we saw a joint coalition being formed, and we saw a fight between two competitors that would not have a clear-cut winner as of yet. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Payback Review. And I'm going to be short and sweet about this review today, ladies and gentlemen, because basically put, there was not much going on at WWE Payback. So I'm going to give you what is only important for this review. Let's start with the WWE Tag Team Championship match. We had the Raw Villains and we had Enzo and Cass. Now, this was supposed to be a match of two highly talented tag teams in the WWE. But unfortunately, the match ended abruptly. What do I mean? Okay, at one point in this match, we had a serious injury to Enzo when he whiplashed off the rope onto the apron and hard onto the floor. His neck whipped so bad, we thought he had a broken neck, just like what happened to Draws back in the early 1990s. But the good news, and this is really, really good news, is that Enzo did not suffer any serious neck injury. He only suffered a very bad concussion, and it will be missing some time. So, while the match, yes, ended prematurely, the news overall topped the match with very good positive results. So I'm really happy to say that, and I wish you, Enzo, the best recovery possible. Take your time, get better soon. So right then and there, we have no clear-cut number one contender for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Let's shift our focus now, ladies and gentlemen, to Ambrose and Jericho, the Ambrose Asylum, and the highlight reel. Again, two talented, top WWE tier superstars. But it was Dean Ambrose who popped up the victor, while Chris Jericho at the end threw the biggest sissy fit over this loss. He claims to be the best in the world at what he does, but he wasn't the best in the world at what he does upon losing to Dean Ambrose. But after this, we did learn something. A cryptic tweet was sent out after that match at WWE Payback from Chris Jericho that says, at WWE, it's been real. Now, we don't know at that time what that meant, but we did learn what it was really supposed to mean on Raw, and I will get into that when I do the Raw review. Then we have the Intercontinental Championship against the A-lister Miz with his beautiful wife Maryse and the Swiss Superman Cesaro, still coming off major shoulder surgery. And this rivalry brewed for quite some time. And it was Cesaro who won a match to become the number one contender, and it was The Miz who won the Intercontinental Championship the night after Mania. So this was a very good match, okay? A very, very good match. We had everything in there, okay? You know, interference, craziness, you name it, it went down. To the end of this match, Cesaro had The Miz won, but it was the outside craziness between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens that really escalated this back into the ring, which then distracted Cesaro he took care of Zayn and Owens, which led to The Miz giving the roll-up, grabbing a handful of tights, getting the 1, 2, 3, thus retaining the Intercontinental Championship. But it would not end there. At the end of that match, Kevin Owens comes in the ring and he automatically claims himself the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. He even told Byron Saxton that he is by far the outright favorite to be the Intercontinental Champion, which then led to a pop-up powerbomb, a swing, almost another pop-up powerbomb on The Miz, but thankfully Maurice was there to save her husband from further disaster. And speaking now, shifting our focus now, speaking of Zayn and Kevin Owens, this was a rivalry that was 14 years to the day in the making. And you talk about colossal fight to the finish, it was just that. Sami Zayn has gotten a numerous amount of victories over Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has gotten a numerous amount of victories over Sami Zayn. So what would the end result be come WWE Payback? Well, the end result was that Kevin Owens would beat Sami Zayn, pop-up powerbomb, 1, 2, 3. So once and for all, as of now, we say this rivalry between Zayn and Owens is over and finished. Now, it could reignite come Extreme Rules, but right now, this rivalry is buried, finished, done. Now, let's get into the joint coalition being formed. It was a big night for the McMahon family at Payback, okay? We had Vincent Kennedy McMahon, our chairman of the board of the WWE. We had the Queen, the Authority, Stephanie McMahon come out. And we also had Shane McMahon come out. Now, overwhelmingly, the support was on Shane McMahon's side. The overwhelmingly disgust was on Mrs. McMahon's side. But the question on everybody's mind, and on mine, was who would Mr. McMahon choose to be the overall runner of Monday Night Raw? Who would it be? Now, Shane made good points, saying that he has brought in a new era into WWE. He's brought these top name talents from NXT. Stephanie made points saying that she and her husband helped with the WWE Network, helped with NXT, the Performance Center, and so on and so forth. But Shane made a correction, saying it wasn't your husband and yourself that helped with the WWE Network, it was your father, our dad, Mr. McMahon, who created the WWE Network. Now, it was the only blemish on Stephanie's side, but overall, those points by brother and sister were really good. So now on to Mr. McMahon. Who would he pick? And the epic bombshell announcement was this. It wasn't going to be Shane. It wasn't going to be Stephanie running Raw. It's going to be the both of them. Because Mr. McMahon wants something new to go down on Monday Night Raw. He wants blood, sweat, tears, flames. He wants everything. You name it, he wants it in WWE. And he's going to try to get it by having both Stephanie and Shane run Monday Night Raw. So the joint coalition is now underway. It should be interesting to see how these two try to run up or work together. In my opinion, they're trying to one up each other. I do not see that working. Now we're going to shift our focus to something of a remembrance. A lot of you remember the 1997 Montreal Screwjob Survivor Series. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, WWF Championship. Okay. We all know what happened with Bret. He went on to go to WCW and have one hell of a crazy career back in Ted Turner's WCW. And it would propel Shawn Michaels to greater and bigger things in WWE. Okay. Let's go. Now, 19, almost 20 years later. Payback, Chicago. Hearts, Flares. Natalya and Charlotte. Flair on Charlotte's corner, Bret on Natty's corner. It was an even playing field. Now, here's what I'm going to be talking about. The screw job. It was Shawn Michaels back in 97 with the sharpshooter Bret. Earl Hebner at that time called for the belt. Now, 19, 20 years later, Natty has Charlotte. Charlotte has Natty, my mistake. Charlotte has Natty and sharpshooter. Charles Robinson now is the referee in this match, rings the bell. Do you see a coincidence? Sharpshooter in 97, sharpshooter in 16. Earl Hebner, Charlie Robinson. Do you see a coincidence? I do. Screw the Hearts. Now, do you think Vince had anything to do with this? I think yes. Why? Here's what I believe. Okay. Even though Vince thinks that he's over this whole thing with Bret, they're good close friends and all that, he's in the Hall of Fame, granted this and that. But somewhere deep down inside, okay, I think Mr. McMahon is still heated over the fact that after 97 Survivor Series, Bret just up and left to go to WCW. So, I think, and I could be wrong, I think it was still because of pure animosity that Vince wanted to create another screw job to screw the Hearts from winning a championship. I could be wrong, but who knows? We're never going to know. So with that out of the way, the coalition and other matches out of the way, let's now shift our focus to the WWE World title. Roman Reigns, AJ Styles. Roman Reigns wins the title against Hunter at Mania. AJ's having a hell of a couple months career since the Royal Rumble. And these two have just had one hell of a rivalry, okay? It just started right after AJ won the #1 contendership for the WWE World title on Raw the following night. And it boiled over now to whether or not Gallows and Anderson would get involved. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. Now, this whole match had a lot. It was a high-flying, it was a physical fight, okay? Now, fast forward, Reigns is spent. AJ is spent. AJ's trying to throw Reigns in the ring. He couldn't. It was dead weight, but AJ would get a count-out victory. Okay. Now, you would think, okay, he's not going to win the title, but he did beat Roman Reigns by way of a count-out. Now, wrong. Shano comes out and says that would have happened in the old WWE. The new WWE, we're going to have this match continue with no countouts. So with that being said, Roman gets disqualified moments later. Okay. Stephanie comes out and says, we're not going to have Payback end on that technicality. This match continues with no DQ. Now here is where Anderson and Gallows made their presence known. They made their presence known by interfering in that match, waiting for the time to have it be a no DQ match, attack Roman Reigns, give AJ the clear-cut victory, which almost proved to be the point, but Roman found a way to power out, to hype up, to get psyched, hit a Superman punch, dodged a phenomenal forearm, and hit a spear. Talk about a crazy amount of sequences all in one. That's how Roman Reigns retained the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So, in all due perspective, we did learn now that at Extreme Rules, it would be Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, WWE World Title in an Extreme Rules match. And this came thanks to the agreement by Stephanie and Shane McMahon. Now, while a lot of you may think that Payback was boring, it was. But the moment that saved Payback was the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, how would this spill over onto Monday Night Raw? Stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen, because coming up next, only on the We Love It Raw YouTube channel, is the Payback Fallout on Monday Night Raw. And trust me when I say it, you're not going to want to miss what happened on Monday Night Raw. I am the boss, Christopher Coury, signing off for the Payback review. While Payback had everything you could imagine, many are wondering what will happen on Monday Night Raw, the night after WWE Payback. You want the answers to that? I am going to give you those answers. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to We Love It Raw. This is the Payback Fallout review. And we are going to start with the McMahon family in the middle of the ring, Shane and Stephanie. And right off the bat, we had a sign of solidarity between brother and sister. Because Stephanie comes into the ring with a bag. Now, we don't know what was in that bag. Shane comes out to a thunderous ovation and asks Stephanie what's in the bag. So Stephanie hands Shane McMahon a portrait. The portrait was of Vince holding baby Shane in the house in Greenwich. And it was the same picture that Vince destroyed a few weeks before WrestleMania in March. And Shane was very appreciative of the sign and showing of solidarity by his sister Stephanie. And it was good. Okay, it was really, really good. But the real fun would start once Kevin Owens came into the ring. Now, Kevin Owens comes in and he automatically making a point saying that I am the only man to deserve a chance at the Intercontinental Champion, because it is in his contract to get a rematch for the WWE's Intercontinental title. But Cesaro has other plans, saying, you're not the number one contender for the WWE Intercontinental title. I am the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. They would go back and forth, but in the end, it was Stephanie and Shane making a number one contenders match for the Intercontinental title between the aforementioned Kevin Owens and the aforementioned Cesaro. Now, this was a very good match. The end result, however, leaves you scratching your head, because it ended in a no contest. So we don't know who the clear number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship, because a war broke out between Cesaro and The Miz, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And in the end, it was Sami Zayn holding the Intercontinental title to the crowd. So now one has to think, at Extreme Rules, are we going to see a triple threat, a fatal four-way match for the Intercontinental title between the A-lister Miz, Cesaro, Owens, and Zayn? Stay tuned to find out in later episodes of Monday Night Raw's We Love the Raw review. Because we don't know right now who is going to face The Miz for that belt. Then we have the New Day, and they're addressing the situation now with this whole tag team number one contendership. But they do address Enzo's injury, and they wish him well. But the Raw Villains come out and say, that Enzo and Cass, they're no longer the number one contenders for the tag team titles. The Raw Villains are. But then the Dudleys show up. They make a point. Big Cass comes out. He makes a point. So now the question is, who is going to be the number one contender? We had a match, but it wasn't to determine who the number one contender for the tag team championship. So we just don't know that. We're not going to know that until Enzo makes a return. So stay tuned for further updates about this ongoing dilemma in the WWE Tag Team division. Then we had the Ambrose Asylum with special guest Stephanie McMahon. Now, you're wondering why is Dean Ambrose still running the Ambrose Asylum? Easy. Shane granted him the right to do so. But that came to a crashing end on Monday Night Raw last night. Because Dean went a little too far with his questions. He showed a picture of Stephanie getting speared, which then triggered Stephanie to go back to the old Stephanie that we all love and love so much. And she right then and there canceled the Ambrose Asylum and reinstated the highlight reel. So Jericho comes out, stare down with Ambrose. They exchange blows. But it was Ambrose who would get the upper hand, lay Ambrose out with Mitch to plant. So as of right now, ladies and gentlemen, the Ambrose Asylum is canceled. And the highlight reel is back. Now we have a number one contenders match for the United States title. Who is going to face Kalisto down the line, possibly at Extreme Rules, for the U.S. title? It was a battle royal. We had Zack Ryder, Titus O'Neil, the Social Outcast, former members of the League of Nations. You name it, they had a Stardust. Zack Ryder was in there. Everybody was in there. Darren Young, Sandow. Eliminations were left and right, but it was down to Rusev and Zack Ryder for seeing who's going to be the number one contender for the U.S. title. And it came so close, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, by an inch of a hair, that Zack Ryder was going to win this battle royal, like he did at WrestleMania, to win the Intercontinental title. He was seconds away from becoming number one contender for Kalisto's U.S. title. But it was the Bulgarian Brute. It was the Bulgarian Brute Rusev who would overpower and overmatch Zack Ryder becoming the #1 contender for the U.S. title. Now, here's the question. When is this match going to happen? I'm calling it for Extreme Rules, in which Rusev will be two-time U.S. champion. Now we're going to talk about the controversy. I addressed it in the review of Payback. We're going to address it further now on the review of Monday Night Raw. Charlotte and Flair are out. And they're gloating, they're happy, they're ecstatic. They talk to Charlie Robinson. Now, for those who don't know, Charlie Robinson is also known as Little H because of his affiliation with the Flair family back in WCW. So, he's in the ring with the Flairs, and Charlotte asks him, yes, you're an affiliated member to the family, your dad and you go way back. Were you bribed or paid off in any way to be a crooked official? The answer was no. Okay. Did Natalya tap out? Charlie said no. But Charlie Robinson did hear Natalya say, stop it, stop it, stop it now. So that prompted Charlie Robinson to ring the bell and call the match. But the controversy was that Natty never tapped out or said anything. Now who are you going to believe? A Hart or a Robinson affiliated with the Flair? The choice is really hard to make. I know a lot of you ingrates are going to go with a Hart, but you got to go with the official because he makes the call. So, Natty's out there, and she immediately ripped the Flairs a new ass. And she was about to do the same thing to Charlotte, but Charlotte got out. And the disrespect, honestly, by Natty to a legend, a two-time Hall of Famer, was uncalled for. Because Flair ended up getting into the sharpshooter. Thus, his jewelry, his prized retirement jewelry, would be stolen by Natty. His watch, given by Shawn Michaels at the retirement match in Orlando, and the rings for him being a two-time WWE Hall of Famer. So, my overall opinion of this is there was no controversy. And I know a lot of you dumbasses are going to think there was, but there really wasn't. Charlie Robinson did what he is trained to do. So, as it may be right now, there's no rematch for that women's title, but I'm wrong. Remember I said there was no rematch for that women's title? There actually is. Stephanie got involved, and she told Charlotte that she wants Charlotte to prove that the figure eight is way stronger than the sharpshooter. And that's going to be up to the test. Because in Newark, in 3 weeks at Extreme Rules at The Rock, it will be Charlotte and Natty in a submissions match for the women's title. But the caveat, the big caveat, is that Ric Flair has to be banned from ringside. And it hurts Stephanie saying, you know, I know you and Hunter go way, way back to the days of Evolution, to the wedding, and beyond. But I did see a little anger in Ric Flair. But the rules are the rules, and Stephanie laid it down. So, Natty and Charlotte, fair fight, submissions match, women's title, and Extreme Rules. And then we're going to talk about the main event. And it was a good main event, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very good. We had a confrontation earlier between AJ and Reigns, Gallows and Anderson, and the Usos, which then prompted a 6-man tag team match. And it was an all-out war. Okay, I mean, you want to talk about all-out wars, this was an all-out war. The end result was that AJ would pull off a big victory over Roman and the Usos, but it came with a big, big cost, because after the match, all hell broke loose. We had chairs flying, tables being broken, and that started when AJ would attack the Usos. Roman got a drift of it, and he became almost the Incredible Hulk. No, screw that. He became Captain America of some sorts. And Roman would just unleash hell on AJ Styles. He was throwing over barricades, into people, you name it, he just laid waste to AJ Styles, ending up in a powerbomb from like, I would say 15 feet, almost like what Shane did, but a little closer. And the powerbomb was when Roman picked up AJ, he just launched him, and the table broke. In the end of Monday Night Raw would see Roman Reigns bad-mouthing and trash-talking AJ Styles, saying, "You mess with my family, that's what's going to happen to you." And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Not really much to talk about on the Monday Night Raw review after Payback. Because it's not a big, big pay-per-view like WrestleMania or SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or Rumble. But we did get a match for Extreme Rules. In fact, we have 2 matches for Extreme Rules, actually. I forgot to mention. Besides the AJ Styles and Roman Reigns match for the title in the Extreme Rules All-Out War match, and besides the Natty Charlotte submissions match for the women's title, we also learned that it would be the Usos and Anderson and Gallows squaring off against one another at Extreme Rules in 3 weeks in The Rock at the Prudential Center in Newark. So, as we go down that road, or up the road, and up the interstate, and up I-95 to Newark, we're getting a clearer sense of what to expect when it comes to the most anticipated all-out war in the WWE, known as Extreme Rules. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, really not much to really talk about because it wasn't a big pay-per-view. One can only imagine what's going to happen now with this coalition. What can we expect again from Charlotte and Natalya as this rivalry grows? What can we expect from the Usos and Anderson and Gallows as that rivalry starts up? What can we expect from Ambrose and Jericho as that rivalry continues? And what can we expect from Reigns and AJ as that rivalry continues to heat up? Stay tuned for answers to those intriguing questions on future episodes of We Love It Raw, starting next week. I am the boss. I am Christopher Coury. For my producer, Mr. Alex Caldero, and for Vanessa Cruz backstage. Be safe. Be dry. Share. Submit. Subscribe. Like. Follow us. Either way you can. This show is for you, the fans. We do this because we know a lot of you have a busy, busy schedule. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I am the boss, signing off for We Love It Raw.